So it's currently just around 8 a.m. I just got done with my morning run. I did 2 miles today. Funny thing is the heater at the apartment gym isn't working, so it's freezing the whole time. But I think after 1 mile, it got pretty warm just because my body heat started heating up. Today's gonna be a really busy day, and I woke up kind of late, so I have a lot of catching up to do. There's a lot of news that I want to share with you guys about the channel and some updates. So I'm gonna go shower, make a cup of coffee just for practice, and I'll catch you guys back when I'm done. Also this coffee machine, so we got this not too long ago for my wife's birthday, and it's working fine, but the grinder for a specific type of bean has just not been working well. It's been glitching out, it's been making a lot of noise that I don't think it should be making. I cleaned it, I took out all the parts. The felt, let me try and find the felt. Yeah, the felt broke, so I don't know if that's one of the reasons why I'm ordering one from Amazon. They're so expensive, they're like $8, which I think is crazy. I'm gonna try and makeshift one. I think I saw on Reddit that you could do that. But yeah, that's what I have to do before I can use the grinder. So hopefully I can get that fixed for my wife. I also have to, my house is a mess right now because we had a couple birthday celebrations in the past 2 weeks. My wife's birthday was at the end of October and mine just passed last week. So there's a lot of balloons that I gotta pop and stuff. So I'll get to that later today and take down the decorations. But as you can see, the Christmas tree is up. We have a pretty small tree, but it's November now, so why not? You know, why not? So it's about 8:20 something now, and I just wanted to go through what I have planned for today. I've been starting to like kind of write things down. I don't know why. I used to just digitalize everything on Notion or Google Calendar or even that Todoist app, but this past week I just wanted to write things down just so I'm more in touch with what I have to do. It just feels better to cross things out on paper, or at least that's what I'm finding. But yeah, today I kind of have a lot of things I got to get done. Or at least try to. For work, I'm currently working on 4 different projects actively and then 1 backup R&D project. Essentially for work for the past few weeks, I've been trying to port over our HubSpot data from our CRM tool to our warehouse. The way we've been doing it historically just wasn't that efficient. It's pretty expensive, and recently we've had a lot of fires because of it. So I've been trying to look into some possible solutions on how we can port that data over to our warehouse. Aside from that, I've also been looking at other options on how we can optimize our pipelines just to reduce costs. Right now, our costs in the past 2 months have increased by 5-fold due to a couple reasons, a couple fires, a couple issues in engineering. But I'm trying to figure out a way to reduce that cost or bring it back down to a number that we're comfortable with. And some of that might be hosting stuff on ECS instead of using services. And some of that solutions also might be building pipelines myself, or just building scripts with Python to extract data, or storing data in a less accessible place if it's not really heavily used. But yeah, on top of that, I'm also working on 2 projects. Right now we're going through 2 upgrades in terms of historical logic for our coverage areas and also for our driver standing. So coverage areas, you can think of coverage areas similar to how Uber defines it, or Lyft. Essentially, you can think of this company as a B2B company that delivers goods and services from point A to point B. We do cover the US, I think about 78 to 80 markets right now in the US, but we have a specific coverage area within each market, within each state, and stuff like that we prioritize. That's where our, services are catered to. So what we're trying to do now is, 1, improve those coverage areas in terms of how we define it. Historically, I think previously in version 1, it was just boxes, rectangles, hexagons, whatever. Now we're trying to get it to more systematic approaches with isochrones. The reason we're doing this is because I found that having a bigger coverage area in certain markets just kind of screws with our service levels and kind of messes up our QoS metrics, just because you can't expect a driver to be able to cover such a large area and also deliver on time. So Those were some of the suggestions. And aside from that, the driver standings project, I've been talking about that for a while now. It's at a point where we can comfortably, I guess, soft launch. My goal for this is to track the data in the back end for the shadow model, just to see how it's performing and how, I guess, well it is, what we need to tune and stuff like that. So nothing too crazy there. And lastly, but probably most importantly for me, is R&D. This work kind of takes on the lowest priority just because I'm currently just in the R&D phase. It's not development, it's not deployment, and none of that. So I'm just looking into ways we can optimize some of our supply because we historically have been storing driver locations, but the visibility just isn't there. It's been stored in S3 buckets in a snappy file. So I need to find a way to extract that and identify locations where we have good supply and we don't. My goal here is to utilize H3, which is a library from Uber, to kind of get a more nuanced understanding of where we have supply in a given coverage area or a given market. So, but yeah, in terms of personal stuff, I have a meeting to get to in 5 minutes. It's a one-on-one with one of you guys. They connected with me on LinkedIn, I guess, a week ago, and they wanted some advice on how to land an internship or utilize their skill set to cater more to a specific industry. So I'm gonna get that call going soon. I ran 2 miles this morning, so that's done. I also have to go pick up my cat's meds. So one of my cats, Maple, they got Bartonella, I think that's what it's called, recently. So I have to go collect the meds from the vet. Aside from that, I have to look into a couple certifications that I'm gonna take on my trip back to Malaysia, just so I can keep myself occupied, keep my brain flowing and stuff like that. Then I got to go to the gym later and go to school to pick up a diploma case for my brother who is currently in Cleveland. So I also have some YouTube stuff that I got to do, some business stuff. One of that being record this video, doing the live video. I also have to work on my app. For those of you who don't know, I'm building an app just to kind of help job seekers like you and I, and also keep myself busy and also continue growing in terms of my skill set outside of work. It's been going pretty well, but I have to update the parsing algorithm to include some new ideas that I have. I also have to do some research for a few new videos that I have. I have a new series, I think, coming out probably later this year or early next year about internships and how you can get internships. And part one of that is going to be about a resume experiment that I do. Essentially, my goal is to test 3 different resumes on the exact same jobs, about 100 jobs, and figure out which one works the best so that you guys can, stop the guesswork and try to stick to a specific resume that has been proven time and time again to work the best. So yeah, all that seems like a pretty busy day, so I'm gonna get started. But yeah, I'll catch you guys back in a bit. All right, so we just finished the company-wide meeting that we have every Wednesday. It's essentially just an update to the company, any new incidents, any new reports, any board updates. But since this morning, I've been working on some of the stuff that I talked about that I gotta get done today / this week. One of them being extracting data from HubSpot with this new method, but I did find a couple gaps, I guess is a nice way to put it. Essentially, we're getting more records now than we did from the historical method, and I don't know if it's good or bad, so I need to go reach out to HubSpot to get a source of truth, because there's no real way for me to identify that with the CRM itself. But yeah, aside from that, I also need to figure out column names and column types, because previously, what we're doing is unnesting JSON data, we're deduping, normalizing, whatnot, and then getting column types and column names. And I found like 1 or 2 columns that aren't really there with this new extraction method. And I don't know if that's just because we didn't extract it or if it's something else. So I need to figure that out and try to solve that, because we have reports that depend on those columns. So that's pretty important. Aside from that, though, everything else has been going pretty well. No problems, no major problems with the other work. I am gonna go get some meds for this cat right here. I got a call this morning saying that she got Bartonella. Maple, do you know you have Bartonella? Whatever that means. Can't be a good thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go do that, get some lunch, and then probably try to get back in the zone, because I think I've been pretty productive this morning, and I still have a lot to do. So I'll see you guys back in a bit.
without editing it. But that's what many people are doing in their lives.
Is there a scientific way to spark creativity on command?
Nothing. Sit there and suffer.
Around. I mean, they were my classmates as well, and I grieved them. But still, at some point, you've got to...
All right, so I wanted to give you guys, I guess, a visual to try and understand some of the work I'm doing. This is the easiest to visualize. I can talk about some of the other work I'm doing too, but essentially today, the biggest thing that I've been trying to work on is moving our extraction process for bigger tables. Like we're trying to extract, I think, 10 or 20 million records from HubSpot again over the past, like this data spans over the past like 6-7 years. And it's like engagements, meetings, calls, any like sales, CRM based data. And this is like the current way we're extracting that data. So essentially with Airbyte, we're using Airbyte, which I think is free. We're just taking JSON, raw JSON data, and we're pushing it to our warehouse. And we have to extract any and all columns based on the tables that we select. So we don't really get a choice. And I'm not sure why. I think this might be a date range issue, but we don't really have all the data that we have in HubSpot. So we're missing, I think, a couple million records. I just got back, or I heard back from a HubSpot rep who gave us the source of truth. So yeah, those are some of the problems that we're currently facing. So yeah, we're taking in all columns, which is not nice. It's raw JSON. So we have to translate that with our transformations in dbt, which also could be optimized, but for right now, it's just very computationally expensive. We have a couple of macros that are just super heavy where we have to rank things and sort through them. It's just messy. And it also does not take in all data. So that's the pain point of the current extraction. And my solution here is we can use another tool like Stitch, or we can build a Python script to be hosted in ECS or something where we have a workflow, a GitHub workflow, to run nightly or something like that to extract and push this data into our warehouse. And that would allow us the customization to talk directly to the HubSpot API. So let's say we want 3 columns, right? We get to extract the 3 columns that we want instead of extracting all 5 or 4 columns. Obviously, we're dealing with a lot more data. I think it's about 1,600 plus columns, which again is a problem with Redshift serverless. You're not allowed to push in more than 1,600 records or columns. Which I don't think we need 1,600 columns. Some are default generated, some are just columns that people have created that we don't really use. So instead of pushing all that load to a warehouse and then transforming that data later on to push it into a schema that's usable for analytics, let's try to save some cost with a select few columns that we really know we need. And also do all the processing beforehand so we don't have to do much work computationally once it's in the warehouse. So this will help us normalize and dedupe the data when it goes into the warehouse, extract only the columns that you need. And also this gives us the freedom and flexibility to take in a specific range. So let's say we only care about data for the past 2 years instead of past 6 whatever years, right? We can customize that range so that we don't have to pull in and store data from 4 or 5 years ago. Again, this is all depending on your preferences. My company, I think we want to store in our warehouse all the data from the start or birth of our company, and then in our analytics schema or the schema where we're gonna be performing analytics on, we probably want to limit how far back we go, just because we don't really need to use data from 6 years ago. We're not really performing any comparisons that far back. There's a lot of things that have changed. So this is where we're going, or we're trying to move towards. Hopefully you can see that right there. And to get there, it's not as easy as I made it seem. Like I said, there's tools like Stitch and stuff that do it for you. But I also know Stitch can be costly. It's not crazy expensive. I think it's a couple $100 a month. But there's also the capability of just writing a Python script where you pay for the warehouse write cost and also ECS cost. So I think it should be cheaper. Generally, I think that should be cheaper. I'm gonna have to write a whole script for each table, all the columns that we need. It's gonna take a lot of time probably. It's gonna take a couple weeks. So I have to weigh the pros and cons and also talk to my team because they probably have input too. So that's where I'm at with that right now. I also have some other stuff that I've been working on, like historical driver location. So historically we have, I think, a fire hose or something that pushes data into an S3 bucket, telling us where drivers were at what time, their speed, whatnot, all the basic driver information that you would need. We haven't really made that data useful. And my project for this quarter is to utilize that data to try and understand supply better. I'm using a library called H3. I talked about it earlier. But yeah, essentially what I need to do with this data is pull it out or extract it from its snappy Parquet data type and use it in a table format so that I can make actual, perform actual analytics on that data, visualize stuff and stuff like that. So right now, I have suspicions that the data pushed in was not actually in a snappy Parquet form. I think it was compressed incorrectly, which makes it very hard to decompress. I could just read it and try to extract the JSON data. It's going to be very messy. There's a lot of hashing going on. So I don't know. That's one of the challenging projects that I'm currently working on. But it's fun working on several projects at the same time because you get to kind of pivot if you get stuck in one, which is currently what I'm doing. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm gonna continue with this until I get bored or tired. It's currently pretty late in the evening, so I'm probably gonna start making dinner soon. So yeah, I'll see you when I see you next. All right, it's dinner time. Let's make some dinner. Don't need this. Don't need this. You want to say hi to the camera? Say hi.
Hi.
Oh shit. All right, I want to talk about, I know this video is getting long, but I want to talk about some of the research I've done for future videos. So one of the biggest questions people come to this channel with is how can I get an internship? And for the most part, the key concepts are the same each year. You need experience, you need to apply for jobs, you need to have a good resume, you need to be interviewing well. But year to year, some things change. Like this year is a lot harder to get internships and jobs just because of the market and the way things have been going. So what I've been doing is research specifically on the stuff that has changed this year. And part of that research involves experiments. So one thing that people come with me, or a problem that people typically come with me with is resumes. Like what type of resume should I use? How many pages, what format, blah, blah, blah. And this obviously varies heavily based on where you are. Like if you're in Asia, maybe they care about a picture on your resume, right? Maybe they care less about experience and more about education, right? Here in the US, it's very different. They care more about experience. They don't care about a picture. They want it to be one page generally. And they also they tend to dump your resume through an ATS system before even looking at it. So that's a common, I guess, those are common things to know if you're applying in the US, right? However, what I want to do is isolate resume formats so that people don't really have to, think about it. They don't have to waste their time worrying about if their format is good enough. So what I'm doing, or what I hope to do, is this experiment where I test out 3 different resumes with the same exact content. By exact, I mean same education level, same experience level, same skill set, same projects, kinda. With different names, different company names, reworded, so rephrase, paraphrase, whatnot. Apply with those 3 resumes to the same job. So my goal is about 100 jobs, 3 resumes, see which one has the best interview rate. So how many applications it take to get interviews. I'm not gonna take any interviews. I'm just gonna see the emails to get callbacks or phone screens and do an aggregate account to see which one performs the best. So it's gonna be a tedious process just because applying to 100 jobs with 3 resumes, it's essentially 300 applications. So it's not gonna take a day. It's probably gonna take like a week or 2, depending on how much time I have. But yeah, that's my plan for some of the upcoming videos. I also plan on making a specific internship video on data science and data analytics. So every year I tend to do a video specifically on how to get an internship, but this year I want to make one specifically for data science and data analytics candidates, right? Because that's where I come from, that's where my background is. My goal here is to make a specific roadmap from start to finish on what worked for me, what I think will work in this current market, with tools, resources, courses, projects, right? Skill sets, tutorials, everything from start to finish. Job boards, basically everything that you could think of that would help a candidate get an interview or even an internship, right? From application to interviews to offers. So that's also gonna take a lot of time. So that's why I'm starting the research process now, just so I can get ahead of it. But I'm excited. I'm excited because I have a lot of family and friends who are currently looking for jobs, looking for internships, and I'm hoping this will be able to help them and help you guys. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And obviously, if you want early access to any of this info, the best way to get that access is on Discord. A lot of people have been asking me for one-on-one chats recently, and I do them on Discord occasionally with people who I think truly could use the help or have done the work and they really just need advice. So if you want to try, just hit me up on either Discord or Instagram. That's where I'm most active. But yeah, I would recommend just joining the Discord to stay up to date with like videos and projects and stuff like that, and just generally to have a community to rely on. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping and start actually cooking, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so it's getting pretty late right now. Just had dinner and watched Harry Potter with the fam. I'm gonna go head out to the gym before calling it a night. Overall, today was pretty productive, pretty happy with the progress. Just gonna have to repeat it tomorrow and the day after. So looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. If you did enjoy, do leave a like down below and consider subscribing. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.